YouTube schoolboy error number 2. Don't hit the record on your audio. So, video this week, take 2. And the reflection I had this week was something I did a lot when I was younger, was scuba diving. I loved scuba diving. I lived in Australia for 3 years when I was 24, 25, 26, and I learnt to scuba dive, spent a lot of time going scuba diving in bays around Sydney, but also Great Barrier Reef. And when you first learn to scuba dive, the instructors talk a lot about a little animal called a nudibranch. And a nudibranch is a small caterpillar-sized creature that lives under the sea, and they come in incredible range of colors. But what I remember of scuba diving is the first time you scuba dive, you really don't see anything. You're aware of your breathing, the bubbles coming out of the breathing apparatus, this vest you're wearing, and you only see very big things, huge rock formations. You see virtually nothing. And as you do your second, your third, your fourth dive, you start paying less attention to the bubbles, more attention, but you only see big things. And in reality, the first 20 dives as a scuba diver, it takes a big fish for you to be able to see it. A big coral formation, you can see it. But as you reach your 20th dive, you start to be aware of where to look for things, where to look to find an octopus hidden, where to look to find certain types of fish. And you become aware of the changes underwater with the light, with visibility, whether it's raining. But it's only around the 50th dive that I remember starting to see nudibranch. And it wasn't seeing one or two. All of a sudden you see them everywhere because you've learnt to pay attention. And in scuba diving, dives 0 to 20, you only see big things. Dives 20 to 50, you see medium-sized things and a few of the changes, but it's only around dive number 50 that you have enough experience of being underwater. You're stopping paying attention to the bubbles and just the mere act of staying at a certain level of buoyancy, and you start to see the tiny details that make up life underwater. And I think this is the same in life. In any domain, as a novice, we only see the really big things in an area. We don't see the little details. I often get frustrated in a class here at ESA when a participant tells me, what we're covering here is not relevant, I don't see how I would use it, I don't think this is practical. And to remember that from their perspective, that's true. From my perspective, I'm teaching some of the most important tools you can ever learn. The ability to take ideas out of your head, connect them through people, and make them happen in the world. I don't think there's anything more incredible than this ability of the human being to see something in your imagination, and days, weeks, months, years later, or centuries later in the case of Sagrada Familia that is being built down there near the Mediterranean shore. And to remember that I'm also, in anything I'm beginning to learn, at that stage of 0 to 20 scuba dives, where you're only seeing the big things, and you've got to stay the course and stick with it and stick in it until you begin to see the details and the patterns. There's a saying that grandmasters in chess, if you show them a chess position, you can show them for very little time and they can remember exactly the position. It's not that their memory is better than an amateur chess player. It's the way they see the board. They're not looking at where the individual pieces are. They see the relationships and the patterns between the pieces, and that's what allows their mind to be able to very quickly recognize what's happening on a chessboard. And I guess a teacher, once you've been teaching, I've been teaching here now for 16 years, you start to see the classroom differently, see what's happening, see the dynamic in the room in a way that you can't even explain to someone who's walking into a classroom today for the first day. And this idea that as a novice, you've got to trust in the process and trust in the teacher. I teach every year on a program with entrepreneurs organization called the Global Leadership Academy. And there's a concept that George Gann, one of the lead faculty members, shares with the group, which is the idea of Shoshin. And Shoshin is a Chinese word. And my understanding of Shoshin, as explained by George, is a beginner's mind, to trust the process, to just be open to receiving and trust that what you're receiving at each point is what is necessary for you to receive at this moment. And I think as a learner, to bring this attitude of Shoshin, to trust the process, trust that if this teacher is known as a good teacher, don't spend any time questioning whether the method is good. Spend your time paying attention, learning to begin to see not just the big objects, but the smaller details, and one day you'll see the nudie branch in the fields that are of importance to you. So I wish if you're a scuba diver, you learn to see nudie branch. They're an amazing little creature with so many varieties of color and ways of hiding. And as a YouTuber, remember to switch the microphone on before you make your first take. Have a great week. Thank you for your comments, your subscribes, your likes. I'm now going to head down. I've got a meeting with another professor here at ESA. It's a beautiful day. Summer is coming. It's the end of Game of Thrones, so winter has not come. Summer is coming. Have a good one.